Hey guys, what's up? Toboloco here. Welcome back to the Subscriber World Cup, the first one for 2025. I know we haven't done a Subscriber World Cup for a while, since December 2024, and it's on the fringe of being March right now. I'm actually recording this on the 28th of February, so if this comes out like at night time, it'll be in between the two. So yeah, the next one will be end of March / April possibly, so get your entries in for that. Again, any one you want. We have a nice selection of teams here, and of course we have 2 Subscriber World Cups for you today, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But without further ado, let's read out the names and butcher your names in this first Subscriber World Cup. So in Group A, we have Sweden, represented by Seth Hernandez, Ecuador, represented by Mr. Vinny, Ghana, represented by Wasabi 1982-1, and Belgium, represented by Wasteland Wanderer. In Group B, we have the Czech Republic, represented by Peter Schwartz, Israel, represented by Lahav Soto and Alon Pier. Macedonia, represented by Yane Yankovsky. Jamaica, represented by Lucky Diamond. In Group C, we have the little teams. Malta, represented by Johnny Brennan. Ethiopia, represented by Liquid. Vietnam, represented by Dylan. And Aruba, represented by Andre. In Group D, we have a little bit of a change. So the Seychelles are in there. Now, these 2 people didn't pick the Seychelles, they actually picked Mauritius, but when I actually went to select Mauritius, they weren't in the game, and I never knew that. I never knew that Mauritius aren't on this game for some reason. Maybe someone can tell me the actual reason, but they're just not. So yeah, I replaced them with the Seychelles. I thought it was basically the next best thing, because they're both the same rating, they're both the same kind of team. So I'm sorry to YYYY MMOT and Kleptrep for that. You've got the Seychelles instead of your pick of Mauritius, but don't blame me, it was a game. North Korea, represented by Henry the Brit. Estonia, represented by the Eston. And Guyana, represented by Conrad. In Group E, we have Turkey, represented by Zion Melina. China, represented by Marshy Whitey. Albania, represented by Arsenal Ball. And Honduras, represented by MC Martin. In Group F, we have Costa Rica, represented by CR7 Fan 2016. Australia, double entry, represented by Johns Casa. And New York City Fan 2021. Montenegro, represented by JC Eurovision Fan. And Ireland, represented by Teddy Hart. Now, in the big groups, we have Group Portugal, represented by Football Finley. Netherlands, represented by Isaac Thayer, Cuthbert McVeigh. And Olympic Games 2026 Los Angeles. Germany was a triple entry as well, represented by Jason, Six Peeps, and Copper Mundile 2026. Spain, represented by Patrick Mealy. And in Group H, we have England, represented by Algico Soufflon on Algadu. I can never pronounce that right, but yeah, I'm sorry. Brazil, represented by Mundine Hozul and Fintan. Italy, represented by S9 Sliver. And Ivory Coast, represented by the City Centre, or the Cité Centre, I should say, as it's spelled. So you all know who you are, and we have a second chance Subscriber World Cup with 16 other entrants waiting for the people who lose in the group stage in this one. So let's just jump straight into it for the first one of 2025. Alright then, so you know the drill. We simulate this part really quickly, I speed it up, so I'll see you in a bit. Alright then guys, so the simulation is done, and let's find out who went through in this Subscriber World Cup, the first one. So in Group A, we have Belgium and Sweden going through in that one quite comfortably. Ghana and Ecuador going home. In Group B, we have the Czech Republic and Israel going through. Jamaica missing out by 2 points, and Macedonia having not a great campaign in that one. Group C, we have Ethiopia topping that one, and Malta as well going through alongside of them. Aruba and Vietnam were just a win away from going through. In Group D, we have Guyana topping that group, and Estonia going through as well. Seychelles missing out, presumably on goal difference, and North Korea as well at the bottom. In Group E, a slight surprise with Albania topping that group and Honduras going through as well. Turkey crashing out in that group and China not doing an awful lot either. In Group F, we have Ireland going through and Montenegro as well, surprisingly going through in a group with 2014 Costa Rica and Australia, so that's pretty good. In Group G, we have Germany and Spain going through, Netherlands and Portugal going home. And in Group H, we have Italy and England going through, Brazil going home, and Ivory Coast as well, to set up a round of 16, which is Belgium versus Israel, Ethiopia versus Estonia, Czech Republic versus Sweden, we have Guyana versus Malta, Albania versus Montenegro, Germany versus England, Ireland versus Honduras, and Italy versus Spain. Alright then, so you all know who you are, and we do this part live on camera, I guess, just to make sure that there's no bias or anything like that I'm doing it properly. Okay, so the first match is Belgium versus Israel. Can Belgium advance, or will it be an upset in regards for Israel? Let's have a look. It's just skipped 2 matches there. So Belgium destroyed Israel 4-0, and we have Ethiopia beating Estonia by 3-1. That's a very good result for Ethiopia. Can Liquid finally do it with Ethiopia? He's picked it so many times. I think it's like a record for the amount of times picked. Well, the same nation anyway. We got Czech Republic versus Sweden and Guyana versus Malta. Simulate those two. We have Sweden beating the Czech Republic 2-0, and we have Malta squeezing by Guyana 1-0. Next up, we have a rivalry game, Germany versus England and Albania versus Montenegro. So we'll simulate these two. And what have we got? We have got Germany squeezing by England 1-0, and Albania and Montenegro drew 2-2, but it won't tell me who goes through until we get to the next round. Okay, next up we have Ireland versus Honduras and Italy versus Spain. Those two games are a little bit hard to call for me, so we'll just let the simulation deal with it. So Ireland beat Honduras 4-1, and then next up we have Italy versus Spain, and that would be... Italy I just saw got knocked out, but it was by 2-1 against Spain. Okay, moving on to the quarterfinals then. We have Montenegro versus Germany and Belgium versus Ethiopia. Potential for 2 upsets perhaps. Montenegro and Ethiopia seem to be doing okay so far. Let's have a look. We have Germany beating Montenegro 2-0, which is pretty standard. Is there an upset here in Belgium versus Ethiopia? Let's have a look. There is! That's actually incredible. Ethiopia did it. They're in the semi-final. Alright, moving on. Ireland versus Spain. Chance for a little bit of an upset. Only a tiny upset, I guess. And Malta versus Sweden, of course. Chance for a big upset or a big win for Sweden. Let's have a look and see what happens. Spain beat Ireland 2-0. And Sweden versus Malta. Let's see what happens in that one. And I do believe that Malta got knocked out. It was 3-0. So going on to the semi-finals then. We have Germany versus Ethiopia and Sweden versus Spain. Ethiopia could do another giant killing and knock out Germany to get to the final. Remember, the final, we tend to watch it live if it's a good final. If it's going to be Germany versus Spain, I won't watch it because that happens literally all the time. Alright, let's simulate these 2 games then. Ethiopia versus Germany. Oh, that was close. That was very close. Ethiopia painstakingly close to the final. 2-1. Incredible run from Liquid there. I always know that he was going to try and break through, and he almost did. And Sweden versus Spain, is there a little bit of a upset on the cards? No, it isn't. It's Spain that go through, so it's going to be a final, Germany versus Spain. So obviously I'm not going to watch that because, well, it's just, for me, it's just standard, a little bit dead in my opinion. But yeah, we'll simulate it obviously. But this is the match that I'm really looking forward to. It's Ethiopia versus Sweden. Can Ethiopia finish third or will it be Sweden? Let's have a look and see. Oh my goodness, Ethiopia have just done it. They have finished third in a Subscriber World Cup with so many big teams. That is incredible. Well done, Liquid. Liquid comes third in your Subscriber World Cup. I know I'm saying this a little bit early, but wow, that is actually incredible. And Sweden, you've come fourth. That was Seth Hernandez. Unlucky, you know, you got this far with Sweden, but just couldn't get it over the line. Okay, final time. Let's have a look then. So, Germany and Spain. I'm going to simulate it. Again, like I said, I usually watch the finals on Subscriber World Cups, but a final between Germany and Spain happens literally like most of the time on this channel. Like literally most of the time. So I'm not going to do it. So let me simulate it and find out. It's going to be Spain. That means Patrick Mealy has won another Subscriber World Cup with Spain. Congratulations to Patrick Mealy. And Germany, second place, represented by Jason, Six Peeps and Copper Mundile 2026. Unlucky to you guys. So as you can see, it was a very standard Subscriber World Cup here for the most part, apart from Ethiopia getting to the third place playoff and winning the third place playoff. I think personally that's more impressive than actually using a team like Spain or Germany and getting to the final. I'm not throwing shade at people that do that. You know, you can pick who you want. I don't mind. But, you know, for a small team like Ethiopia to get, you know, past Estonia, which is pretty difficult in its own right, and then beating Belgium 1-0, and then only losing to Germany, but then beating Sweden after that. That is very, very good. So that's your first Subscriber World Cup done. Join me for the second chance Subscriber World Cup, where we have 16 new entrants and plus the 16 people that didn't make it past the group stages. Alright then, so this is your second chance Subscriber World Cup. I'll just read out the names of the people, well, the new people, not the people that have dropped in, because you should know that if you're following the video. So, Bulgaria is represented by IGG 2002, Romania represented by Rory, El Salvador represented by Errado 9548, Denmark represented by Yederde, Nigeria represented by Really Edits TM, Japan represented by Ryan Bromhead, Swaziland represented by Matsum, Iceland represented by Ivory Trance, Belize represented by Emmy Plays Games, Liberia represented by Anonymous, South Korea represented by William Junks, Wales represented by Footy Predictions, Burkina Faso represented by Brian Jimenez, Canada represented by Cutter Historical, Finland represented by Grubby Coach, and Serbia represented by Madman E. So let's go into our second chance Subscriber World Cup and see who wins. So you know the drill, we'll do this part really quickly and then the rest of it is done live on camera. I'll see you in a bit. Alright then, so we are in the group stages of your second chance Subscriber World Cup. You all know who you are, so let's have a look at it then. So, in Group A, the Netherlands and Ivory Coast go through in that one. In Group B, Macedonia dominated that group, but then it was left to the other people to battle it out, and Aruba came out on top, presumably on goal difference. In Group C, we have Brazil and Ecuador going through in that one, Costa Rica and Romania going home. Group D was dominated by the two African teams, Ghana and Nigeria, going through very comfortably. In Group E, we have Denmark and South Korea going through in that one. In Group F, we have Turkey and Serbia as well going through in that one. Wales and El Salvador going home. Group G, won by Iceland and Canada go through in second place. Liberia and Vietnam going home. And in quite possibly one of the shocks of this second chance Subscriber World Cup, Bulgaria go through, but also North Korea went through. And I do believe that from the simulation, anyway, when I caught a glimpse of it, they actually beat Portugal on the final group stage game. I'm fairly sure they did. I'll check it in a minute, but like, what a result. But The round of 16 looks like this. We have the Netherlands versus Aruba, Brazil versus Nigeria, Macedonia versus Ivory Coast. We have Ghana versus Ecuador. We have Denmark versus Serbia, Iceland versus North Korea. We have Turkey versus South Korea, and Bulgaria versus Canada. So yeah, if you look at the bottom there, just the very bottom result, North Korea won 1-0 over Portugal to actually go through. So we're going to quickly go through this, and we have the Netherlands versus Aruba and Brazil versus Nigeria. Of course, the Nigeria game could be a little bit harder to call, but this game here, I don't think there's going to be an upset. I think the Netherlands should be beating Aruba, but let's find out. 4-0. Yeah, like pretty standard. Next up, Brazil versus Nigeria. Simulate that one. And that was a 1-0 to Brazil. See, it was a little bit harder than the Netherlands game. Okay, so we have Macedonia versus Ivory Coast and Ghana versus Ecuador. Let's have a look and see what happens in these two games. Simulate that one, and it was a 0-0, so we don't know that one yet. And Ghana versus Ecuador, that is going to be a 2-0 to Ghana. Alright then, Denmark versus Serbia coming up next, and Iceland versus North Korea. Alright, so simulate these two, and it's gone through the whole of the round of 16. I'm guessing I wasn't, representing those two, I guess, following them. So Denmark beat Serbia by 2-1, and Iceland had a thriller against North Korea, 3-2 in that one, so that ends North Korea's valiant efforts in that one. And then in the last two round of 16 matches, we have Turkey beating South Korea 2-1 and Bulgaria beating Canada by 3-0. Okay, so quarter-final time. We have Denmark versus Iceland and the Netherlands versus Brazil. Let's simulate these two. And Denmark beat Iceland 3-0. And this is the big game. Who will come out on top? If whoever wins this one will probably win the World Cup. Unless something crazy happens. It was a 2-2 draw, so we don't know yet. We don't know. We have Macedonia versus Ghana and Turkey versus Bulgaria next. Simulate these two matches. And, okay. So we have Ghana beating Macedonia 2-0. And Turkey beating Bulgaria by 2-1. So it's going to set up a semi-final with Brazil versus Denmark and Ghana versus Turkey. Okay, so I'd say it's pretty watchable, I'd say, at the end of the thing. Because obviously there's 3 teams at least that will be a first finalist. So let's simulate Brazil versus Denmark. There could be a tiny shock in this match. Potentially. No, Brazil just beat them 3-1. Fair enough. And next up we have Ghana versus Turkey. Let's see what happens in that one. It is a 2-2. But it was Ghana that went through to the World Cup final. And they'll have to play Brazil. Let's have a look and see who wins the third place playoff. Denmark versus Turkey. Let's have a look. And it was... I just saw 3-2 to Turkey. What a game in the third place playoff final. So that is your tournament tree up into the final. We're going to watch the final because it's quite an interesting final. You know, Ghana versus Brazil. So let's just find out who won the third place playoff. It was Turkey, obviously, and that was Zion Molina. Congratulations to you for winning the third place playoff with Turkey. And in fourth place, it was Yadir there with Denmark. So congratulations to you for making it into the top 4 as well. But we have a final to watch, and it's Brazil versus Ghana. I hope it is enjoyed. Here we go then, the second chance Subscriber World Cup final live here. So we have 2 participants, or probably more than that actually, because it's Brazil. So Brazil is represented by 2 people. It's Fintan and Mundinhozel. I hope I said that correctly. And Ghana is represented by Wasabi 1982-1. So good luck to you guys in this final. I'll show you the highlights of the match. It won't be the full match. And yeah, I hope it's enjoyed. So through ball, and here comes Neymar. Can he finish for Brazil? Off the post. How unlucky that is for Neymar. Inkum with the ball. Boateng. He goes for the shot. Oh, good save by Cesar. And that's going to be a corner to Ghana. Into the box. Muntari. And that's just gone in. Muntari from just inside the box. And that's 1-0 in the final to Ghana. Is there an upset here in this second chance Subscriber World Cup final? Brazil are 1-0 down. And that was just a really nicely worked goal. Just shot from outside the box. Well, just on the inside of the box, sorry. And it just rolls in. Keeper might have done a little bit better there, but Ghana taking the lead. I believe there's a free kick to Ghana on the edge of the box. Well, not just the edge. It's a bit further away, but might be scoring range, potentially. Oh, off the top of the bar by Boateng. That could have been it. That could have been it for Brazil. There's literally no time. Once it's booted away, it should be game over. Headed away and Ghana have got possession of the ball. It will be a Ghanaian second chance Subscriber World Cup win. And that is incredible. Brazil have been beaten in the final by Ghana. Unlikely of circumstances, but Brazil just weren't good enough in this game. They didn't even do that much. Honestly, there was no highlights from them. So, your champion, the person representing Ghana, was Wasabi. 1982-1. Congratulations, you win the second chance Subscriber World Cup. And commiserations or congratulations if you're, looking at it on a positive side to Brazil, who reached the final but couldn't do it in the end. That was two people who come second, Fintan and Mundinhozo. So yeah, that's your second chance Subscriber World Cup and your whole Subscriber World Cup for the month of, well, let's just say March, because by the time this comes out, it'll basically be March. So yeah, get your entries in for April or the end of March, whenever I decide to do it. Thank you for being patient with me while I was away. I know I couldn't do this because obviously this requires me to do it on the day sort of thing, not doing it in advance. So yeah, thank you for being patient. And yeah, if you did like this, then give it a like and subscribe, comment your entries below, and I'll see you again for the next video.